and I miss you all. So, as you all may remember from last week, we're starting a new series within a series. We're going to be talking about figures throughout the Salvation Army's history who helped to progress and grow the mission of the Salvation Army. And today, we're talking about somebody who not only helped grow the mission of the Salvation Army, she was one of the founders of the Salvation Army. And she not only furthered the mission of the Salvation Army, but she furthered and progressed women's rights within ministry. Today we are talking about Catherine Booth. And as always, if you see me looking straight ahead, just know that I have notes on my computer. So it's not that I don't want to make eye contact with you. It's just that I want to make sure I'm getting everything as accurate as I can. Catherine Booth was born Catherine Mumford in 1829 in England. As a young girl, Catherine was very serious and grew up in a very religious household. In fact, by the age of 8, she was carrying her Bible around with her everywhere. But Catherine faced some problems in her life. During her adolescence, she actually developed a spinal curvature, which kept her idle. It didn't allow her to get up and play around like all the other kids. But she kept herself busy. In fact, from a young age, Catherine Booth became very sensitive to a topic that would go on to progress her thoughts on ministry and would go on to help start the Salvation Army. Catherine became very aware of the alcohol problem in England and became very concerned with these people who were struggling with these addictions. So she wanted to be part of a ministry. And she wanted to help lead the fight against alcoholism. She met a man by the name of William Booth in 1851. And soon after they became engaged. And together they had 8 children. Bramwell Booth, Bellington Booth, Kate Booth, Emma Booth, Herbert Booth, Marie Booth, Evangeline Booth, and Lucy Booth. And it was during this time that William and Catherine looked around at what was going on in England. And they looked at the issues that people were facing. There was alcoholism, there was addiction, there was prostitutes, there was criminals, and none of them were being shared the gospel. So William and Catherine Booth decided that they would start their own church, the Salvation Army. Now, it was at this time that Catherine Booth read a book by a woman named Phoebe Palmer. And this inspired Catherine to write a book of her own called Female Ministry, Women's Right to Preach the Gospel. You see, at this time, it was very rare to have a woman speak, to have a woman preach. In fact, it was frowned upon. But Catherine Booth wrote this book because she knew that women had a right to preach the gospel, and that women were capable of preaching the gospel just as much as any man was. Now, luckily, she had married somebody who agreed with her. William Booth stood beside Catherine in her fight for equality in ministry. During her ministry, she became a partner with William. Not just the marriage, but a true partner in the fight against evil. Catherine Booth loved her work, and she focused a lot of her work on the same thing that took her attention whenever she was a kid: the alcohol problem in England. Catherine Booth, through her work and through her strength, was able to bring thousands of people to Christ because she did not let fear stop her. She knew that she had as much right as any man to preach. She had as much ability as any man to bring the gospel to those who needed it. If we are to better the future, we must disturb the present. This is one of the quotes from Catherine Booth. If we are to better the future, we must disturb the present. Catherine Booth knew that her fight would help progress other women to have the strength to stand up and preach the gospel. I'm going to read a couple other quotes from Catherine Booth that I think kind of show her mentality and her strength. Do not give way to lowness while you are young. Rise up on the strength of God and resolve to conquer. It seemed clear to me from teaching of the Bible that Christ's people should be separate from the world in everything, which donated character, and that they should not only be separate, but appear so. Catherine Booth knew the importance of having strength in God. She knew the importance of women in the ministry. And she knew the importance of separating yourself from the wants of this world and focusing on God. Catherine Booth set a great example of how we can be as believers in Christ. Guys, as always, I hope you all are doing well. Hope you're staying safe. I miss you all. If you need to talk to somebody, reach out. And God bless.